Co-produced by Afropunk and How Stuff Works, Afropunk Solution Sessions is a podcast that explores real-world solutions to the problems that marginalized people face. Every Wednesday, co-hosts Bridget Todd and Eve Jeffcoat speak with members of the Afropunk community, celebrated thinkers, and community leaders like Stacey Abrams, Matthew Kincaid, and Patrice Cullors about how to resist oppression and stay engaged. Afropunk Solution Sessions is inciting meaningful conversations and motivating people to make a difference. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
The thing about you that caught my eye is the same thing that makes me change my mind. Kind of hard to explain, but girl, I'll try. You need to sit down, this may take a while. See this girl, she sort of looks just like you.
I was gonna do it.
She even smiles just the way you do. So innocent she seemed, but I was fooled. I'm reminded when I look at you.
You remind me of a girl that I once knew. See your face whenever I look at you. She put me through. This is why I just can't get you. Oh my goodness.
Praise the Urshers. No, never. Actually.
No, never. We won't do that, actually. But praise the Lord, niggas. Welcome back. It's episode 67 of Gettin On with Jade and Keia. I'm Keia.
I'm Jade.
And we are back to talk about adulting, the good, the bad, the ugly, the tests, the trials, the twists, the turns, the temptations, and the taxes of being an adult in the year of our Lord, 2018. It's hot. It's hot.
Nigga, as hell, my titties have been leaking.
Oh my God.
I'm not even pregnant.
Oh my word.
I was standing in the Jamaican. Oh my God. So I was about to call 311 on this Jamaican spot by my crib because
you're always about to call somebody on something.
I know. You know, it's my inner white woman. So, and my inner old black woman. So I'm standing in this Jamaican spot. Okay, you know how hot it was yesterday. You know how hot it has been. We walk into this spot to go get some jerk chicken to go along with like some sides we have at the crib. And soon as we get in there, both me and Tristan are like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why is this so ungodly? We have stepped directly into hell. This is exactly what this is. Nigga, it was so hot in there that when we walked outside, it was cool and refreshing. I'm not exaggerating. I promise you all on everything that I know and love. It was so hot. My titties started leaking, my eyebrows, my eyelashes, my nose hairs, everything was sweating. God. Everything was sweating.
Remember in high school, my friend Pam and I, shout out to Pam.
I love somebody named Pam.
When we would get hot. You know, like in high school we didn't have no AC. In many of the classrooms. Well, the classrooms had ACs, but there was no AC in the hallways. And our school was like 80% windows. So in the hallways, it was like all windows. So it would like literally be like a convection.
That's how it felt.
It would just be hot and wet. There would be all this condensation. It was just too much, right? So we would just be loud in the hallways because that's what we would do. And be like, just loud, just yelling, hey, Pam. And she'd be like, hey, girl. And she'd be like, what's up? Pam would be like, my kneecaps is sweating. Like, just unreasonably, like, just ignorant. Like, this would be like, wow, someone would be in English class, right? We would just be out in the hallway talking about, girl, the back of my knees is wet. It's ugly hot. Oh, Jesus. Just really Eastside High levels of nonsense and foolery.
And Mr. Clark about to pop out.
I was like,
because you don't talk like that to Mr. Clark.
I told you. It's just like, Because, you know, it was an atrium. And I didn't get suspended, thankfully, because the Lord is gracious. But I should have been, because I stood in the middle of the atrium and my friend Serena was at the top of the stairs. And she was saying, keep singing.
Oh, when you were doing the Little Mermaid?
Like,
ignorant.
She's like, keep singing!
Ignorant.
That's one of Fury's favorite stories. When I told him that the first time, he lost it. I was like, just imagine a high school filled with children. My high school was really, like, it was on the larger side. It was about 2,000 to 2,500 kids in the building. And everyone's just hustling and bustling. And I'm just standing in the middle of all of this, singing like Ariel, the top of my lungs. Full chest voice. Just dumb. It's a wonder. Really, really. I should have been put out of that school so many times.
To keep singing.
And Serena would be at the top of the stairs like, keep singing! Like, girl.
Every time I hear it, it's like I never heard it, and it takes me down.
You know, God has really been looking out for me my whole life. I should have been put out of that school
even in your ignorance. Especially
in my ignorance. But yeah, man, it's hot. The heat index, according to my phone, the heat index said it was 100. It felt like it was 108 degrees in Washington, D.C. today. And it was just like, are you kidding me? I don't know, man.
We walked outside for lunch and it was immediately like, oh, hell no.
It's like everyone's walking around with the same face, like, ooh! We all look like the cry face emoji just in the street, like, ooh! Jesus! Help us. Oh my God. But yeah, I hope you guys are staying cool, moisturizing your situations. Not too much though, because if you put on too much lotion in this kind of sweat, you will literally suffocate yourself to death.
Oh, listen,
just
your body
be sliding
will
out of your clothes, right? Sliding right out of your clothes.
Just a thin layer. Just a thin layer.
But you have to drink your water because the sweat is real, and you will be dehydrated in a mug out here because the perspiration will take you over. But yeah, man, what's going on, sis? Aside from it being unreasonably hot outside.
Just unreasonably hot. You know, niggas are still working even in the heat. We had Noah's Wrinkling Time party this weekend.
It looked like it was perfect.
It was whimsical.
Yes.
Flower crowns galore in the park and barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Two of my favorite things, watermelon. Like, it was just it's great. It was just good. It was just a good time. Games for the kids. Like, you know, we had a good time. There's a little splash pad close because, you know, it was hot.
Yes, it was.
It was burning up, but your girl had a blast. Rode her new bike.
My heart is like burning
My heart is like burning up.
Was it EPMD that had that song? I'm hot just like an oven. Ooh, I'm hot. That's Marvin Gaye sample, honey. I love it.
I sang "Come Live With Me" to Noah the entire time she was in my belly.
Oh, Jesus. And you wonder why your child is 65 years old, but that's...
Every day I'm like, come live with me, angel, come live with me in comfort.
I just love how Black Marvin Gaye was. I just felt like he would have been like my cool uncle friend. Like, I feel like he would always have like really, really amazing homemade lemonade in his refrigerator at all times. And
I could always borrow a kufi.
And I feel like he would season the hell out of some catfish, honey. Oh!
We know he seasoned the hell out of some grits.
Oh, you ain't right. You ain't right.
I'm not, but it's true.
I'm hot just like an oven. Ooh, I'm hot. All right. Let's get into it, man, because I got to go to bed.
Yeah, nigga, it's late. Trash. Let's take out some trash.
All right, cue the cleanup woman.
Time for trash.
The most dreadful portion of the show. Go for it.
I think
it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. It's totally fun.
I know you don't watch Power.
That is correct. I mean, everyone, I'll give you all time to gasp and clutch your pearls. Go ahead.
I already did mine, so you guys go ahead. So Keia doesn't watch Power.
Not because I don't want to, but just I can't afford Showtime and HBO, and I have committed to Issa.
And I told her she could use my login.
I would have to get her
up on Power. You have 4 seasons to get caught up.
I know, man. I don't have that kind of time.
Sis, I need you to get into it. I need you to. It's
good.
It's like the nigga version of Game of Thrones.
Is it?
Yes. Tristan brought out a good point. He said Game of Thrones has no heroes.
They're all
it's
villains.
all anti-heroes. They're all anti-heroes.
They're all villains.
So, and some villains, some anti-heroes, some villains. Power has no heroes. None. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you all since it just came out. I'm going to give you a week to catch up, and just know that next week I'm going to get into it, but I hate Tariq.
Well,
anyway.
That being said.
He's got to go. Black Ink Crew, Chicago.
Oh, boy.
Your thoughts, please.
I mean, Lily hit, what's the name, Danielle with the whop.
She didn't even get a 2-piece combo. She got a 3-piece combo.
Man, she had red beans and rice and mashed potatoes. I mean, it was quick. And Danielle won't sit there like, you know, she wasn't just, I don't know. Yo, Lily, I don't know. I was annoyed with how Danielle carried that. Like, you can't just get punched in your face repeatedly and sit there like you didn't get punched in your face repeatedly because you're just going to look.
Especially when she didn't really, I'm going to say, Danielle didn't really ask to be punched in the face. Like, she didn't.
Lily had had enough.
She was irritated.
And
she was irritated and she resorted to these hands. Yeah,
I have to admit though, I fell asleep on the episode. I need to go back and watch. I'm not really sure how this did 4 and 4's fine girlfriend have the threesome with the white lady?
No, because the white lady ended up getting really drunk and making out with the bartender.
Oh, well, there you go.
So he didn't get to have, any fun. He probably would have been too tired anyway.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you finish Black Ink Crew Chicago.
No, I mean, like, they're back in the shop, right?
So they're back in the shop. They are now Loyal Ink.
Right.
So black. Ryan has opened a new shop. He has some drunk ass girl.
Yo, what was that? What was that? I was so puzzled.
My girl tiptoed in like Mr. Tumnus in
Who comes to work? Who comes to work like that? Yo. I have never been to work drunk.
Jill Scott comes to work.
Oh my God.
Jill Scott stresses me out, and I don't have any problem saying
she's like fake deep to me, and it gets on my nerves.
She is.
It gets on my nerves.
From her Bill Cosby apologizing, so Jill Scott, her newest antics, Black Ink Crew Chicago, we'll talk about it next week. Her newest antics, Jill Scott went to my homegirl's store in Philly. Shout out to the Sable Collective.
I saw it on the Sable Collective's IG, but I don't feel like I watched the whole video because I have to take Chili in doses.
I know.
Just
after she apologized for Bill Cosby, and after she said that Black Friday meant that they sold niggas on Fridays during slavery, I just did not see it. I could not for her anymore. Now I can still listen to her music. She's not canceled in musically. No. You just can't talk to me.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Yes, that part.
So she literally don't say nope. Keep singing.
Yeah, man. Do you want?
But she was at my homegirl store and didn't shout the damn store out. She just got in the selfie camera video FaceTime and just
said a bunch of nothings. Evident.
Drunk. I said, well, what were you drinking? She was drunk. DROW.
Drunk. She was drunk.
I was irritated for my homegirl. I'm like, but you didn't shout the store out. I even commented on Instagram. I was like, but shout out to black businesses. God damn.
Oh. Jillian from Philly.
She wasn't even supposed to make it to the trash. But anyway. LeBron James is going to Los Angeles, if you care.
Man, I do care. But mainly because I just really want to see Savannah and give her a high five.
Because this was only Savannah. Savannah's like, I don't want to live in Ohio anymore.
She put her foot down.
She's like, I want my Louboutins to be appreciated. I don't want to live in Ohio any longer.
154 million for 4 years.
My
God, indeed.
My God. She said, fix it.
Nah, Savannah just out here. She just out here winning. I respect it.
I can't get mad at it. She married her high school sweetheart and she did the ultimate glow up.
I put some respect. Put some respect on Savannah's name.
Like she tumbled, like her glow up is tumbling like that soccer player.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Please move on.
Please move on. The soccer player went in the World Cup who started tumbling and they turned it into a video game.
You are just tickled.
I'm sorry.
Beyond.
I am. So LeBron James goes to LA. DeMarcus Cousins is going to the Warriors. I don't have anything to say about that because I don't really know what
they
that
just
means.
stacking the deck. I mean, it'll make for interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's what I learned through my husband and my brother-in-law's conversation. That seems to be an extreme move.
I mean, we will see. Time will tell. The NBA is about to be interesting again, I think.
I hope so, because I think that's why I fell off, and I don't really know who anybody is outside of old boy Harding because of his beard, and he just really irritates me, his whole face. And then Russell Westbrook because he looks like one of the little dinosaurs from Land Before Time.
He really does look like he could. All he needs is the flannel shirt.
Petrie. Like I know him. Obviously we all know LeBron James, and there's a whole bunch more. But I watched basketball in my prime of basketball. It was like when Chauncey Billups was playing, and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Paul Pierce and Rondo came in. He was a rookie, and Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Like that was my basketball days. That's when I kept up with it. But I haven't kept up in quite some time. So I just keep hearing about DeMarcus Cousins. So I assume he's great, but I know he's going to play with the little mashed potato boy for the Warriors.
Dear Jesus.
You know, he looks like a bowl of mashed potatoes.
Well, what's next in trash, girl?
Jay-Z is releasing a documentary on Trayvon Martin.
It has a release date, right?
Yep, it's going to be released July 30th on the Paramount Network. So
I excite.
Yeah, so set your clocks, set your DVRs. Monique wants you all to stop running your mouths about the $10 million that she is not making.
Oh, Monique.
And she also wants Lee Daniels to shut his mouth.
What rhymes? What starts with H and rhymes with jokes?
What rhymes with jokes and starts with an H? It's a goddamn hoax.
I just can't wait to be that kind of black woman and speaking cliches.
And sit on my condominium balcony and make videos.
I can't wait.
Cannot wait.
It's going to be so much fun to just say all of the crazy things that our aunties and mamas say.
Or I'm going to be like the dark-skinned Aunt Viv and start making videos in my kitchen and putting it in that little superhero.
I'm sorry. Yeah, something is wrong with Janet Hubert.
California might be split come November into 3 separate states. California,
they're really just trying to break up the largest Democratic.
That's all. That's really all they're doing. They think that this is the Handmaid's Tale happening, but that's what they're trying to do. Gilead's about to become a thing. Ludacris threatened a fan who threw a solo cup at him at a show, and we saw old Ludacris come out.
Well, okay.
And I was pleased.
Something about that just warmed my heart.
It really did. I saw it. He said, "Don't make me come off this motherfucking stage and whoop your ass."
That's it. I would have been
like, I'll be that nigga named Luda, aka LOVA. Like,
I said yes.
I was so pleased.
Yes.
And then lastly in the trash, which is not good, but good news at the same time. It's not good because of the context of it. But Harvey Weinstein is facing 3 counts of sexual assault, and he could face life in prison.
Well, Jesus.
If he's convicted. Hallelujah. So hopefully he will be and get his due because he got what's coming to him. So, and that's the trash this week.
Oh, amen.
That's the trash this week. Let's move on to a shout out to our hermanas.
Holy, Do it. Oh my God. Holy, do it.
My sister's popping right now, like.
Buenos dias, hermanos. So our shout out to my sis this week, since we are now wrapped up with graduation announcements. Thank you to everybody who sent them in all season. You know, me and Keia, that is our highlight of the year, to be able to read about you guys' accomplishments, and we can't wait to get back into it in December.
Yeah.
But we're back to our regular shout out to my sis, and this week our shout out is for Nurturing Possibilities. You can find them on IG at Nurturing Possibilities LLC. Also at nurturingpossibilitiesllc.com. We'll be sure to post all of the links in the description box. So my good friend who heads Nurturing Possibilities and is the founder is working on her PhD right now. And so she's working on, I think it's in mental health. And so the next event is on July 7th from 12:30 to 2. And it is the misdiagnosis of Black boys' mental health through music. So you'll be able to click on the link in the description box, check out the Instagram in the description box to be able to get more information off of the website. But that is July 7th in Washington, D.C.
Nice.
So that is our shout out this week. I also want to give a quick shout out to Lone Body Care for holding your girl down in the sweltering heat. I'm not out here funky. I smell like lavender even at the end of the day. So make sure you all get you some Lone Body Care. You can get on a subscription plan with them. You never have to go to the store and go get yourself any deodorant again.
That's a Black-owned business, right?
No, it's not a Black-owned business, but it is a woman-owned business.
Oh, all right. Girl power.
Girl power. And they are also sponsors of Friends Wellness Tour. So
love it.
Check out Lone Body Care. I definitely advocate for them. I use the citrus, the lavender. They have a mint. And there was one, I used to have a coconut lime that I really liked. I want them to bring that back. That was nice.
Very nice. Very, 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 very nice.
Well, let's move ourselves on to the kitchen table talk.
All right, then it's time to gather around the kitchen table for some chitter chatter. This week we're going to talk about our moms. Well, not specifically, but we're going to talk about relationships with moms, and what that looks like, what that means, how we navigate those things as Black women and women of color. Several of our listeners have reached out to us and shared a website or an article that was published on madamenoir.com that's entitled "The Strained Relationship Between Black Mothers and Their Daughters." Was written by a young woman who I'm sure I'm going to pronounce your last name wrong, but bear with me. It's Ara Iloa Bougie Chukwu. Iloa Bougie. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Boogie Chukwu.
Yeah, that. I'm so sorry. I promise.
Yeah, Boogie Chukwu, I think.
Elo.
Is that an L or an I?
It's an L. Elo.
And maybe it's an L and an I. I don't.
Well, we can read, but either way.
Elabuki Chukwu.
Yes.
Elabuki Chukwu. Yes! I got it!
Teamwork. Thanks to DreamWorks. Well, you did that, honey. I struggled. But anyway, Ara wrote an article that, really thought-provoking piece about, how Black women relate to their mothers, and even more specifically, how we're socialized, how our relationships with our mothers has implications for how we exist and operate within our adult lives. Lots of so the article I liked. There were some things and kind of some aspects of the article that I didn't quite agree with, but overall I think it will serve as the basis for a useful conversation. So I just thought we would chit chat about it around the kitchen table. So I'm going to read a segment of it and then hopefully, pose a question that will kick off our conversation. So, It says, I know my mother loves me, not because she was the most loving, affectionate mother in the world, or because she was all fluent in all 5 love languages, but mainly because I chose to believe that everything my mother did, she did out of love, even the things that didn't feel too much like love. Growing up, my mother had 3 jobs: provide the necessities, keep me from being fast, and remind me that we weren't friends. And boy, did she do her job so well at times that it felt like being her child was just as much a job as her being my mother. So that resonated with me for a number of reasons. And I feel like before we jump in, I want to preface this by saying this is not a conversation where we'll bash our moms or,
but it is honest.
Yeah, it is very honest. And we're not doing it to, embarrass our families or anything like that, but just more so just kind of just have some real conversation about the ways that our mother-daughter relationships have shaped different aspects of our lives. So,
and I know we had a my bad.
No, go ahead.
We had a previous episode very early on. I Get It From My Mama, which was more so about us turning into our mothers. And there might be a couple repeated things just because that kind of falls into the conversation. But we realized that in reading this article and a lot of conversation that we already have with one another, that a strained relationship between Black mothers and daughters is actually a lot more common than probably one would think. A lot of people I know think that they're on their own when it comes to that, but there's a lot of people, self-included, who struggle with that. And so, like Keia said, to reiterate, we're not here to bash our mothers, but we do want to have honest and open conversation, because that is a struggle that that a lot of us are dealing with, and if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you.
Right.
But I know that I deal with it, and I know a lot of us who do deal with it, and we think it's something important to talk about.
Agreed. So sis, I'm going to ask you, how would you describe your relationship with your mom, as a child, as a teen, versus how you would describe your relationship with your mom right now? Like, are there differences, in nature or, of y'all's relationships? What did it look like then? What does it look like now?
My mom was a very Black mother. And I quote, "Growing up, my mother had 3 jobs: provide the necessities, keep me from being fast, and remind me that we weren't friends." Like, growing up, my mom was the disciplinarian. Like, I was disciplined by my father. Like, he was very involved. They were married. And I was disciplined by him, but he still was a lot more lenient than my mother was. My mother was a lot more strict. To the point where I didn't always understand it. I thought it was just her telling us no, she didn't want us to have no fun with anything. But and I had it was almost kind of a fearful thing a lot of times, because I was always scared of her reactions to things, as opposed to needing to go to her about certain things. And I think that carried into adulthood, because she still sometimes keeps the same mentality of, you're my child. You know what I'm saying? And my mother is not speaking to me, to be perfectly honest with you all right now. And, in the last conversation we had, my mother said to me, you my child and something, something, something. And I was like, I'm your child, but I'm not a child. So, I still respect you as my mother, but we need to be able to have open conversation and respect each other's differences in order for it to be progressive. And sometimes that's a struggle.
Agreed. I think a lot of times moms, I don't want to speak for all moms generally, but I have definitely had experiences where my mom felt like compliance equals respect. Like, in order for me to respect her, I had to do what she says or agree with what she says, or, all of that. And that speaks to the nature of our relationship as, when I was growing up. So I really, really felt like it was outcome based, as a child. I think our our dynamic was different. And I mean, y'all, I may have said this before because I say this often. I feel like my relationship with my mom, like I felt like I was my mom's staff growing up and my brother was her son. I think she had expectations of me. I had deliverables. There were things that she required of our dynamic that and I think, in one of the things that I was missing from that is like that nurturing space. I don't feel like, our mother-daughter moments were fewer and far between when I was younger. Now, after I got grown, that changed, but I think that the ways that we interacted, those transactional kind of interactions that we had as I was growing up, definitely shaped the way that I kind of give and receive and perceive love. In ways, and I feel like that's one of the ways that I can see it manifesting in my adult life. I think, sorry.
No, you're fine.
In the article, the author raises 3 specific points about the ways that, provides 3 specific examples of the ways that mother-daughter relationships can be strained between Black moms and Black daughters. She talked about moms struggling with accountability, or feeling like any not wanting to discuss anything. Like if there was ever any grievance or issue that a daughter has against her mother, when that conversation is broached, it's always like, a defense, a defensive response.
A defense and a justification.
Yeah. So it's like, and it always reverts back to like, but I provided for you. You had what you needed. Don't ask me about how you were treated when you had food and clothing and shelter. Because, those were my priorities. Right. And I thought that was especially interesting because growing up now, I feel like I have different perspective and I'm able to see the ways in which my mom was not only a mom, but my mom was a woman. So I can kind of see, why she would get defensive because in my specific situation, my mom was acting, fulfilling both parental roles at the time.
Right.
And, she was doing all that she could. So I could see why any kind of complaint would be met with the response of like, how dare you say that this is not enough when I am literally working my fingers to the bone to ensure that you guys have what you need. But the author makes an interesting point. For many Black mothers, the idea that you could ever be guilty of any wrongdoing against their child, a person that they take care of, is just absurd. Instead, they remind you that they're slightly capable of benevolence by inviting you to complete some menial task with them. So like a re-invitation to their space. It should then come as no surprise that as we become women, we continue to accept deflection and pleasantry in place of old apologies. So like she uses the example of like, her and her sisters would confront her mom about something, Mom, we don't like it when you do this, or when you do this, this makes us feel like XYZ. And her mom would get defensive and, hear them, but, always provide some sort of justification. And then her attempt to make amends wouldn't be like, I'm sorry, or I know that I was wrong. It would be like, you want to go to the store with me? You want to run this errand with me? Come on, girl, let's go. Let's go to the store.
Yes.
So I feel like that was something that I could connect to. How about you?
Same. That is the same thing. My mother rarely apologized. Did my father apologize? He would apologize. My mother rarely apologized. It'd just be like, all right, I'm gonna take you to Chick-fil-A. or, you know, that was her little thing. She'd take us, you know, somewhere on Friday. We can get whatever we want to eat or whatever. But like, she wouldn't really apologize. And it was very defensive. And I grew up with a sister.
Yeah.
So both of us would go to her and be like, yo, like, that was really mean. Like, that was really mean what you said or how you acted or whatever. Like, we don't think you should have came at us like that. Like, come on, let's talk. And she would not be trying to hear it at all. Like, she was not trying to hear us. It's like, y'all are children. Shut up. Get out of here. And, you know, I don't need to listen to you right now. I don't have to listen. I don't have to do nothing. And it's not always the best attitude. Because we have to remember, especially me, right now, like right in this current moment, that we have, you know, our example is so key to our children. And we talk about that. We talked about that last week on Getting Grown. We talked about that on Friend Zone. We talk about it all the time, but our example is so key. And if I don't teach you to have some humility through my actions, such as apologizing when I'm wrong, because adults can be wrong when it comes to kids. If I don't teach you about that humility through my actions, then how am I gonna tell you to be that type of person?
Agreed. And it also,
how are you going to grow up to be a humble person and you're not growing up with humble people leading you by example?
yes, absolutely. And that lack of transparency, you know, from moms, often leads to kind of like, it also can lead to unreasonable expectations of, you know, or altered perceptions of like, this is not real life, right? So, my mom, one of the things that was a frustration for me is that my mom always presented herself as one who did what she was supposed to do, was never ever wrong. And she didn't make any mistakes. If she did, she suffered the consequences and then learned from that mistake immediately and never made that mistake again. And I think a lot of that pressure carried over into her expectations of me, such that it was really, really hard for me to come to my mom when I was scared or afraid or when I had messed up. And that was that safe space did not exist within our relationship at critical times. So when I had questions about sex or relationships, as you know, in high school or in college, I didn't feel like I could talk to my mother about it because she had set a standard such that I was supposed to know better when it comes to these things. And that was tough to navigate. Because, you know, when you can't go to your mom, a lot of times you go to your friends or you go to other people in your life who may or may not, give you the best advice. Right. And so I think, you know, that's one of the things going forward. You know, if I ever get the opportunity to be a mom, and especially to a daughter, I think that that's one of the things I'm going to try to be conscious of is like, you know, finding that balance between having a standard for your children and establishing that such that, you know, I'm the mom and this is what my expectation is, but you can always feel safe enough to say, you know, I'm struggling to meet this expectation. Or, you know, and me being open enough to say, hey girl, there were times where I didn't meet it either. And let's just talk about that.
So you don't feel alone.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I told you all, I think I told the story on the other mother episode, but a huge thing that's carried over, with, like I said, with my mother, and it's such a big thing, is like a distrusting factor. And also that secrecy as well that you spoke about. 'Cause like, so I said before, I was like, when my ex-fiance called our wedding off, that's the first time that I heard that my father did the same thing to my mother. That's the first time that these niggas opened their mouth and my mom was like, oh, your father did the same thing to me. I'm like, but y'all got married. Like, you got married in Mimi and Papa's living room. And she's like, oh yeah, girl, that was the rushed wedding. The original wedding was called off because your father had a girlfriend. I was like, ah! Literally a mirrored situation. Exact same thing happened to me. And like, it was a whole to-do, and they did end up getting married. That did not happen for me. But they did end up getting married, but I didn't know about that until this shit happened to me. That is something's wrong with that.
So do you think that if you had known that your mom had that experience, that you would have been more, it would have been, maybe you wouldn't have had to go through it?
Not even necessarily that I wouldn't have had to go through it, but I think I might not have felt so alone, because even after it happened, her reaction to it is like, okay, if this happened to you, like obviously there was a huge level of sympathy that she had, but at the same time, she started going into these other tangents about, well, I just don't want, and she would talk to my cousin. She would always, that was another thing that irritated me. She talked to my cousin and would not talk to me. She's like, I just don't want Jade going, down a wrong, like, I just don't want her doing things she's going to regret because this nigga pulled these stunts. Like, and I'm like, she was alluding to the fact that she had probably done some things she wasn't too proud of in lieu of her heartbreak or whatever. But she never would say what it was. And I'm like, if you would open your mouth and talk to me about your experience and just be candid with me, because clearly I'm an adult, I'm going through something very serious right now. Like, and you had an exact same situation and you keep talking around it, but you won't talk directly about it. And that shit got on my nerves. And I'm like, we could really bond here. Like, we could really have a moment here where if you would just open up and stop being so stifled and worried about the fact that we're your children, and know that maybe some of the things that you've gone through will help us in the future, things might be a little bit different.
Do you think that pressure is about something, though? Like, I think that, well, as a mom, can you speak to that? Like, is there a pressure for you to, carry this image of perfection around your child? Or, do you feel like, is it that parents feel like in order for me to enforce this rule, I have to act like I never ever broke it?
I think that's what it is. I think parents are so afraid of judgment from their children, and that they might use it against them, and that they feel like when you talk about leading by example, they think that leading by example is lying, as if you've never gone through something, and it's unrealistic. And I think that if a lot more, especially parents of color, would let those walls down and those guards down and really speak very candidly to their children, like, yo, I did that. Because I'm not going to just say fathers, because there are a lot of mothers who are very open, but we're speaking about a specific type of mother that we grew up with.
Right. And I don't want to generalize, right? So this is, we're not saying that all Black mothers do this, or this had to be your experience, but just kind of talking about the ways in which our relationships with our moms have steered and shaped the ways that we exist in the world today. Absolutely.
Because this whole article, as even with some things like Keia said that I don't necessarily identify or agree with, she did make a lot of really good points. And this is my personal experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that I can speak to, but I know that's not for everybody. But what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
Do you think that, I don't remember. Do you think that, dang, I know, right? I was saying that, what, I don't know. I feel like I was talking about the pressure that you feel to be perfect. Okay.
Right. No, I don't personally feel the pressure to be perfect, because I'm trying to change that little narrative there. And even though Noah's super young right now and she doesn't need to know everything, I'm trying to change that narrative where when she does get to a point where she starts experiencing things, she doesn't feel like she's going through it alone, or she's the first person to ever have done it. And I think that's the problem with a lot of teenagers, is that they feel like they're the first and the only to ever have gone through these issues.
Right.
And I think a lot of that stems from feeling like they're alone, because there's a lack of transparency within that parental relationship.
Do you think that it is possible to have that transparency, but still enforce the standard of, like, I am the parent and these are my expectations of, these are
absolutely
my expectations of the kind of person that I want to raise you to be. But I can still let you know that I didn't get it right all the time.
I think it's very, very, very possible. Like, it's about being I mean, it's, you might have to hold a few things. You know what I'm saying? Your kids don't need to know about every, I don't know, every incident of fellatio that happened in your
Oh my
youth.
God.
You know what I'm saying? They don't even know every time you gave it up. Like, they don't need to know all of that. But at the same time, like, you can keep it real with them. And then you can also set an expectation without instilling fear, but instilling a respect and instilling that knowing that they have a safe space there. I think it's very possible. And I think it just comes from the way that we communicate with our children. You know what I'm saying? Discipline is key, but that's not always the first resort. You know what I'm saying? And there's a way for your kids to respect you without them being scared of you. And I think that's where we really need to try to change that. Because I had a fear always of my mother's reactions.
I still have that.
I still
have
that. I know that I'm not scared of much, but I like her. And it's more so like a Lord. I know she's about to I don't even want to hear it right now.
I'm not even.
It's not like.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What did you say?
No, you're fine. I'm just saying she can't give me no beating, but I still I don't want to hear it.
That's the thing. It's not a fear like she's going to, I'm going to get in trouble, but it is just the anxiety around having to have that conversation. And for me, it's just all about picking my battles at this point in my life. And it's just, I still don't feel like I can talk to my mother about some things, not because I don't feel like she's open to the conversation, but there are things that I don't feel like my mom has the experience or the exposure to in order to engage in the conversation in meaningful ways. So I was talking to Jade before we started recording about how I really, really struggle in talking to my mom about dating and dating relationships, because I feel like me and my mother have had completely different dating experiences. And we dated and she dated in a world that is separate and distinct from the world that I'm dating within. And she will never know what it's like to be 35 and have never been married. And living in a place, away from your family. So like the context that surrounds my experience is something that she will never have any concept of. And I don't feel like she's open to acknowledging that. I think she still projects her beliefs, her ideas, her experiences onto mine in ways that don't make sense. Right. So, and I mean, the world is just a different world. Like, my mom has no complex concept of what Netflix and chill could ever mean. She would be like, this man, he wants to come into your house? Like, and do what?
He wants to VHS and sleep.
I mean, excuse me? But yeah, like, she would never ever get it. And that makes it tough, right? Because I feel like sometimes in spaces where I need to have that kind of advice from an older woman, or just her perspective about things, I don't feel like I can talk to her about those things because she just sees the world in a different way.
Yeah.
Much like I still haven't told her about this show because my mom has I feel like her apprehension of the internet and me presenting myself on it and what that would mean, I don't think she has any concept of what this means. And when I think about having to explain it to her, it's just really stressful. So, as far as she knows, I just work a lot. And I do. I do. And I feel like the opportunity will present itself for me to show her, because I think she would need to experience it in a way that to help her see the complexity behind it.
That is super, like, that is so key what you just said, because my mom knows about the show. My mom knows about both the shows. She don't like it, but she knows about them. I feel like my entire life, my mother has been telling me to watch my filth. She's been kicking me out of her car. Can you listen to your filth when you get out of my car? Can you watch your mouth? It has always been a watch your mouth and watch your filth. But I think that when my mom is, she's social media savvy and all of that. So I think that when she sees certain things, when she sees certain interactions and little things that I'll post, she'll be like, well, what is it you do? Like, I don't understand. Like, these people just sit up here and listen to you in your filth all day. Like, no, not all day.
Not all day. Not all day.
But enough where it actually is a job for me, Ma. Like, this is not, I think she thinks it's some kind of hobby where I'm fulfilling some sort of need to feel important or something. And she thinks I sit up on some microphone and do nothing. And I'm like, this is actually, it's a job. Like, there are things that go into it. And it's beneficial. It's helpful. And I think that is a huge difference in our generation, is that we're able to talk about a lot of things that we're dealing with and going through and that we've experienced to try to uplift and build one another. And they just look at it as running your mouth and telling your family secrets and telling too much of your business.
Yeah, I think work and concepts of work and what it means, identity and how we present and how like all that stuff, it looks really different now than it did when they were our age. So I can even things as small as like my haircut or my hair color. My mom has serious reservations for how those things impact how I present and how I'm perceived in the world. And I mean, they might, but I think the difference between her and I is that I don't care in the ways that she does. And that's still, I feel like that's still a hard hurdle for us to get over. Because, and I get it, right? Because they were socialized during a time, when respectability was a larger conversation than preference, right? It was like a means for survival. Like it was how they were able to kind of navigate and get through and progress to get to the things and to achieve what they wanted to achieve. So I get it. But I think the struggle between myself and my family sometimes is that we don't they don't believe that two things can be true at the same time. The whole notion of absolute truth is something that we struggle with. And sometimes it's just easier for me to just not have the conversation. So like when I go home, I don't want the whole time that I'm home to be about the fact that I have blonde hair. Like I would much rather spend time with my family and love on them and cherish them and appreciate the time that we have together and, really, really just share that space and time. And I don't want to spend it arguing or proving the point as to why I have a podcast or why I'm doing live shows and what that means for my life and my work. And I understand and appreciate and respect their concern, but I also want them to respect and appreciate the fact that I can make my own decisions. And, navigate the consequences and implications of those decisions as a grown adult person.
Hey, that is a word. So I don't, my parent, we don't live in the same place. And I feel like every time we get together, it's some very long drawn out discussion about something involving my life. Usually weed.
Oh my Lord.
I don't want to have that conversation constantly because, it's just always something. I remember when I started getting I got my first tattoo at like 16, but
yes, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Salt, pepper, ketchup. You know what I'm saying? Extra level sauce. But that's why I got my first one. But, I started getting more visible ones. And my mother, you're not going to get a job. Like, why are you doing that to your body? I made that body.
I made it.
Like,
whoa. Skirt.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Whoa, sis.
Whoa there. Like, let's just pump your brakes. I love you. I respect you to pieces. But, I appreciate the gift in which I'm living, and the canal in which I came from. You know what I'm saying? I understand the struggle in which you went through, but, I'm going to be all right. Like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to have a lot of jobs. Now I have like 12.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
out here working.
lots of tattoos and lots of jobs. So it's fine. And I really understand that a lot of what they feel, me and my mother's last argument was literally about weed. It's like, and I told her, I said, if you are willing to have a productive conversation in which we may come to a conclusion where we agree to disagree, I was like, we can do that. But I'm just going to let you know I feel differently than you do. And I don't have any I'm just letting you know that's what it is. And this has been a long conversation.
I'm sure.
Okay, this conversation has been going on for a very long time. And it's like, I'm still a productive member of society. This is a different day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not David Ruffin out here sneaking into, abandoned houses and things. I don't carry a spoon in my backpack.
Oh my God.
And a lighter and a pipe. Like, it's just, there's not a belt in there, no needles. Like, it's a completely different type of situation. And if you want to talk about it and the progression of it, then let's do that. But I need you to hear where I'm coming from. She don't always want to hear where I'm coming from. And that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna segue a bit because I wanted to talk about one more thing before we wrap up the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The author of the article, Ara, yes, I hope I'm saying. I'm sorry, sis. Don't cuss me out for butchering your name. I don't mean it. We'll leave the link in the description box. But she made a point about the ways in which our relationships with our moms have shaped our relationships with other women, specifically around friendships, and how our mothers can be vocal about, about your little friends and really kind of setting the tone for distrust, right? She says a lot of our mothers are the reason we don't get along with other Black women, and a lot of their mothers are the reason they didn't know any better. I was raised in a home where I learned two things about women very early on. The first being that they were not to be trusted, and the second being that you didn't keep too many around. Although my mother had friends that were women, she often spoke of them with distrust and anxiousness. Despite her reservations, I knew my mother to keep a moderately active social life, laughing and dancing with women she thought ultimately wanted to see her unhappy, which taught me a great deal about keeping my friends close and my enemies closer, but absolutely nothing about forging healthy, positive relationships with other women.
I agree with part of that, and I've experienced part of that. I don't think I can say all of it though. My mom did. I can agree with the sentiment of having a few women around, and not just women, but people in general. You gonna walk away with 3 good friends in your life. I'm like, I went to Barbados with 7, and they're actually some of my very best friends. So I don't always agree with that sentiment. You know what I'm saying? And I have built a network of sisters. You know what I'm saying? I don't just have friends. I have sisters. And that's no shade to my actual blood sister. I love my sister. She's the only one that I have. But I have sister friends, you know what I'm saying, who I'm very proud to call my friends. And there's more than 2 of them. There's more than 3 of them. And so I can see where that has been a sentiment in the past. My mother did have a super distrustful attitude when it came to, like, friends that I had in the crib, or like, she's like, I don't really like you. Like, I don't really want her back over here. Like you said, I don't really want her back over here. I don't like her. And you're like, well, why? I just don't like her. But why? Why though? Why don't you like her? I just don't, something about her I don't trust. I'm like, but you don't know this girl. And a lot of times they're right, but not always.
Right.
So what about you?
I think that I agree. I think it's a product of, I don't know, I'm just kind of like the work that I'm doing right now, and kind of like where I sit in different spaces in my life. I see things differently, or like on a larger or broader scale. So I guess I think about what this says about like society and like what norms and standards are or have been in society, specifically around Black people. I think we're socialized to be competitive and contentious, because, white folks know that there's so much strength in our community. So they literally set us up to be, leery and distrustful of one another because they've all convinced us that we're out here chasing the same carrot, right? Because they know if they can get us to beat up on one another, then they don't have to worry about us beating up on them.
Right.
And I know that might be a reach, but I see that in this scenario because I feel like I can recall times when my mom, like you said, has said, I don't like you hanging out with that girl, and has not been able to articulate or either chose not to articulate a reason why. And I'm not saying across the board because there were some girls who she turned out to be right about.
Exactly.
No, but I do definitely feel like we are taught by our parents and by our families to be, leery of others in ways that may not be healthy. And I think that really, really can compromise the power that happens when we all get together and get on the same page and realize that if we all, doing our own thing, there's enough out here for all of us to eat, right? And if you out here operating in who you are, and I'm out here operating in who I am, and we get together and support each other, then our impact is, maximized, right? And it multiplies beyond what it was if we all over here being secretive and extra like, oh, we don't trust no girls, to keep your circle small and all of that. I'm all for that because I agree that everybody can't go with you. But I think that there are degrees to relationships, and we should not be out here training up little girls and little boys to think that they're going to get to where they are by themselves, because that's just not a realistic or sustainable model.
No, and my mom didn't teach me that, like, you have to get here all on your own. I will say that she wasn't, but and she had some justifications for some of her distrust. I remember her actually opening up at one point as I got a little bit older and letting me know about certain family friends that had been around that, there was some grown things happening that I didn't know at the time. There was, some real trifling women like hitting on my dad and like all kinds of stuff. So, like just mess. But there were also, like, I remember one time my mother, like, there were elements where she was just distrusting for no reason. She had one of my homegirls who's my homegirl to this day, one of my closest friends. And my mom was like, I don't like her. I just don't. She never really cared for her. Never had a reason on why. She was like, she took you to the club. She took you to a haunted house. I was like, you do realize I went to the club.
Right.
I went to the haunted
house. And I would have went without her.
Like, I wanted to. I went because I wanted to go.
God bless you.
You know what I'm saying? You may not like it, but your daughter did the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? And somebody else's mother could be sitting up here looking at me talking about, I don't like her. I don't want that girl back in my house. And that's not how you raised me. So why don't treat my friends like that? Why don't treat my people like that? And I know it was sometimes my mom has a way sometimes of making, she can be very warm. My parents are super hospitable. They love entertaining, but my mom is also very high stress. So she entertains, but it's to a certain expectation. When things ain't right, she starts getting stressed. She starts stressing us out. And, sometimes it may not go the way that she wants to. And there's somebody there, you hanging out, and it's very much like, can I talk to you for a second? It's very like, make the room uncomfortable. And it don't have to be like that.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I'd like to change, in how I react with Noah, because that's embarrassing. And it, you carry that shit with you, and it's like, I carry it with me to the point, even as an adult, where it's like, yo, I have some really close friends, and I don't know if I want to necessarily introduce you to them, because I don't know how you gonna make people feel.
Agreed. Because I think that one of the things that I have definitely noticed and perceived is that my family can have resistance, like a straight up aberration to change, indifference, right? And just because things are different than what we know, what we believe, what we've experienced, that they are in some way wrong. And I don't think that that's altogether fair. And I mean, I have really tried in my own way to help my mom and my family to kind of see things differently. In my own gentle way, right? Because, I have to be real and honest. I come from super, super traditional, conservative, Christian, good Black stock, right? And
yes, you do.
And there are just certain things that members of my family have never ever been exposed to. And as such, they have developed some problematic thinking about, right? And I have been very conscious about taking opportunities as they present themselves to kind of check them on some of the things that they say. Like, right. You cannot say that. Don't say that no more. Like, that's not true. Like, we don't know that. How do you know that? Questioning and just pushing back, in ways that I feel like, this is what it means to get grown and be an adult for real, right? So it's not just about just carrying on those problematic ideas and notions, like, from generation to generation. Because when you know better, you do better, right?
Right. Like, you cannot use the F word anymore. You cannot use it.
You cannot.
You cannot call people those things.
Like, you gotta stop. Right? And
like, no more F word, no more sword fighting, no more any of that. Don't say any of that. It's all wrong.
And, even about like, I've had to check people about, Redskins and Indians and some of that problematic language. Yes. Like, cut that out. All right. That's over. That's canceled. And I mean, and it's not just what's been helpful for me is like, it's not just like, let me tell you why this is wrong and why you shouldn't say this. But let me tell you that you go outside and you say some of this stuff outside, you're going to get some pushback from people now. You have to be conscious of what you say outside of this house. Yes. I want you to be thoughtful about that, going forward. And I think that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I thought this conversation really is on par with what our show is all about. Cause as you get older and as you know better, and do better, it's your responsibility to kind of take these lessons and learn them and apply them and carry them on for future generations of your family. Even for those of us who've not yet become parents, right? We still got work to do.
Right.
And taking time to think about your relationships with your family and how these relationships have been strained, or maybe how they have evolved or changed over time, is really useful in helping you shape how you want to live your life as an adult.
I really, I've been talking about therapy for some time, and you speak really highly of therapy.
It's life-changing. I will never be the same.
Crystal speaks super, super highly of therapy. My other best friend speaks really highly of therapy. And I actually, as I was thinking, because this conversation is not just a conversation that we had today for the show. Like, this is ongoing because this is a constant issue that I know we both deal with. But I want to go to therapy to be a better parent. I want to go to therapy to, not saying that my parents were bad parents.
Not at all.
They were great parents. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that that's very clear. Right. And I'm going to tell you, I love Miss Rhonda and I thought, like Keia said, she came from some really good Christian stock. I can really show up to somebody's family's function and they'd be like, she is not. No. And I just knew, I said, I'm going to walk up in this church and they're going to see all these tattoos and all this. And they are going to just be like, but they don't act like that. They didn't act like that at all. They were very warm. They were very loving. They were very receiving. And I can say on every occasion that I've seen Keia's family that they've been super loving. But that was a tangent. I want to go to therapy to be a better parent because I just want to be able to change some of those things that I know caused and created a couple of issues that I might have currently.
Absolutely.
And I don't want Noah to carry that into her adulthood. And we'll have our own share of issues because we're imperfect human beings. You know what I'm saying? It's family dynamics. You're all, there's going to be, those are the closest people to you. Fight with the closest people to you. But if I can make this as healthy of an environment as possible by starting with me dealing with my own shit and stuff that I've dealt with, you know what I'm saying, growing up and carried. I don't want to carry that into how I raise her. And so to try to tweak some of those things, I think therapy is going to be a really good move.
Absolutely. I mean, just because not only like working through issues or drama or problems or stress or challenges, but therapy has really been helpful in just like giving me new insight and new perspective and new understanding about, you know, just kind of the way that I am, who I am, and what that means for who I want to be. So like we were talking about before the show, like in trying to figure out dating and how I relate to men and why it's been like, you know, I feel like I'm banging my head up against this wall and it's like not really going nowhere. I had a breakthrough with my therapist during one of our first sessions about like, you know, what my ideals were or what this ideal relationship that I was chasing was in relation to how I exist in you know, how I exist in relationships, what I believe about relationships, what I was taught about relationships through my mom. You know what I'm saying? And what was modeled for me and really just seeing like, you know, you want to know why you act like this? And you told me how your mother acts, like you act like your mother. Like your mother didn't teach you how to be in relationship with a man. She taught you how to take care of yourself. That's why all these niggas is asking you why you so busy. And I'm like, that's it. Like, that's it. And that kind of perspective, I think, is absolutely critical because it just, a lot of times because we exist in our lives, you know, and we do so, like, you know, in real time, we don't have the capacity to look objectively at what we're doing and why we're doing it and what we could change if we want to see a different result.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, man, that's our weekly plug, right? Our weekly plug for therapy because we tend to do that, I guess, now.
Yes, but it's fine because it's necessary. And I think that a lot of our mothers went to therapy for a lot of the issues that they have that come from their childhood and them growing up and also their personal experiences. I think that if that started sooner, it would shape things differently. But you can't cry over spilled milk. You can only do better.
Yeah, and everything happens for a reason, right? Everything. So we don't have no regrets. No regrets. But you know, it's just about like, you know, it's all about the process. It's all about the steps, and you got to start from the bottom in order to get to the top. So it is what it is, and we just gonna keep progressing and moving forward. Like Jade was saying, we were hoping to present this conversation in order to, you know, just, you know, get us thinking along the lines of, you know, who we are now as grown women and how that impacts our relationship with our moms. Because, you know, it does, right? Yep. So we should be intentional about thinking about these things instead of just like going with the flow. Cause that's sometimes flying by the seat of your pants doesn't necessarily lead to the outcome that you want.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
So we hope it was helpful. Like we just want you all to know that if you are dealing with this, if this is something that you know, it sits on your mind, it sits on your heart, you're not the only one.
Nope.
And, you know, it's just something like Keia said that we have to keep working on.
And if you don't have a strained relationship with your mama, leave us some tips. Leave us some information. Give us some insight. I mean, you know, whatever your situation may be, weigh in on the conversation as y'all always do in the comments. And then on Twitter and Instagram, let us know, you know, join us at the kitchen table because, you know, this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. We will see you all next. Oh, no, we have 3 more segments.
What are you talking about? I'm like, are we ending the show right now?
No,
are we skipping something?
We absolutely have like 2 more segments.
Okay. So, all right, let's do you want to skip one? We can skip one.
Let's move on to the Odyssey box.
All right.
My dumbass. Co-produced by Afropunk and How Stuff Works, Afropunk Solution Sessions is a podcast that explores real-world solutions to the problems that marginalized people face. From running for political office to restorative justice to activism, Afropunk Solution Sessions arms people with the knowledge and tools they need to affect change and build power in Black communities. Every Wednesday, co-hosts Bridget Todd and Eve Jeffcoat speak with members of the Afropunk community, celebrated thinkers, and community leaders like Stacey Abrams, Matthew Kincaid, and Patrice Cullors about how to resist oppression and stay engaged. Afropunk Solution Sessions is inciting meaningful conversations and motivating people to make a difference. Some of these conversations include, what does it mean for Black people to have a seat at the table? How can we expand reproductive rights for marginalized people? How can we reclaim our space? Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Honestly?
Truly.
All right, let's get into this honesty box.
Oh boy.
All right, and they want to be kept anonymous, so we will not say any names. Hi, Jade and Keia. I hope you're both doing well. I've been a listener from the beginning and love the podcast. Keep up the great work and content. Thanks. You.
Thanks, sis.
Here's my conundrum. I'm getting married in September, and we're about to send out wedding invitations.
Okay.
My fiance does not want to invite his biological father because he's not really been there for him as a father throughout his life.
Oh.
Over our relationship of the last 4.5 years, I've seen their relationship go through spells of no contact and arguments, as well as some decent spots where they were in contact and were amicable. He's been nice to me on the occasions where we've interacted and was there when we got engaged, so I don't really hold ill will toward him and how he's treated me. My fiance has already told his dad that he would not be receiving recognition as such at the wedding and that his dad understood that. On the other side of things, my mom is adamant that my fiance's dad be there since he is still his dad. My own dad passed away in 2016, so it's going to be hard for him not to be there to walk me down the aisle. Our condolences, sis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really torn on how I feel about all of this. Obviously, I get that his dad has not put in the time and effort to really get that recognition as his dad, so I understand where my fiance is coming from. On the other hand, not inviting him is something that can't be taken back, and who knows how their relationship may change in the future. As another layer to this, my mom is taking care of the bulk of the wedding expense with my fiance and I helping out. When my fiance asked his dad if he could help out with some of the expense, really the rehearsal dinner, he told him he couldn't since he's not currently working. I think that adds another consideration because it does make you feel some type of way for someone to come in and take credit as a father of the groom when he didn't help at all with the wedding or the reception. My parents, just my mom, have always been incredibly supportive. Have always been incredibly supportive. And after we get married, we'll be continuing to live with my mom while we save up for a house. My fiance moved in with my mom and me about a year ago to be able to save for the wedding. I say this because it's hard for me to wrap my mind around a parent not supporting their child, financially, emotionally, and otherwise, because that's never been my experience. Also, to add more background, my fiance's mom lives out of state, about 2 hours away, and is financially not really able to help because she's on disability and raising my fiance's youngest brother as a single parent. But here's the kicker. Even on a fixed income, she and my fiance's brother visited us yesterday at our house, and she asked me what is something we would like off of our registry that we had completed the day before. I pointed out a dish set and she purchased it on the spot, which is the first wedding gift that we will receive. She's embraced me and is very supportive of our relationship. I don't know how to approach things at the wedding if he does come, where he will sit at the ceremony and reception, so forth and so on. I'm not sure how to proceed with these types of things. My mom is keeping up appearances kind of person and doesn't, well, we just had a conversation about that, and doesn't want things to appear awkward or strained at the wedding while my fiance isn't an it is what it is kind of person and couldn't care less if his dad isn't there. Though he said that he couldn't be cordial if his dad, or he could be cordial if his dad was there. What should we do? On the financial aspect, is it fair to acknowledge him in the key areas in the wedding if he does not contribute, or should we let bygones be bygones and proceed as if nothing's wrong? So, what do you think, sis?
I don't feel like this is your call. I think that is your fiance's daddy. And I don't know that this is something that you should involve yourself directly in the decision making about. I think that's just me. I don't know. I don't know if I would throw my weight around. If your fiance says he doesn't want him there or he's indifferent about him being there or not, I don't know if it were me, if I would still kind of be assertive and saying like, okay, so your dad's going to come and he's going to do X, Y, Z. Because I don't know if that's your place.
I hope you receive this with love, because I mean it with love, but I'm going to be very candid with you. I think both you and your mother are a little bit too involved in that decision. And like Keia said, that's not your decision to make. That's your fiance's decision to make. And if he so chooses to have his father in the wedding in whatever capacity that he's involved, that is totally up to him.
Absolutely.
You placed a lot of importance on financial responsibilities. And while I 1000% understand, because it is it is expensive to throw anything, you know, I think with the way the fragility of their relationship, you need to give him that freedom and that space to be able to make the decision on if he wants his father involved and how he wants his father involved, and kind of just learn to take a step back when it comes to certain things like that. And I'm telling you that from experience.
Yes, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this without saying this, but I'm telling you from experience. And we all have to learn how to take a back seat when it comes to certain matters that are not ours to deal with, even if they are our partners. And being partners means, and being partners and being compatible partners and having a strong relationship includes learning how sometimes you gotta let people be what they want to be and do what they're going to do.
Totally.
With certain decisions that don't really have anything to do with you.
Yeah, I don't think that you want to be in a position where you would be between this man and his father.
No.
And I know your mother
over some money.
Yeah, and your mother ain't got no business being in between any of this. So
no.
Listen, again, we are not at all. You asked for our opinions, and we're just offering them. I don't really, like I said, I wish you all the best and much continued success in your marriage and in your future. But
absolutely, congratulations.
I really, really feel like this is a case where you should defer to your fiance, and whatever he says he wants, then you say okay. And you live your life.
Because you need to remember that if it's a decision about your family and it's something that you might not think he necessarily needs to speak up on, he's going to have to give you that same respect. You know what I'm saying? And there are matters that you have to deal with together, but in certain ones like this, you have to learn how to pick your battles. And I think this is one that you need to let him have by himself.
Yep.
So we hope that was helpful. Continue to send your honesty box questions to gettinggrownpodcast@gmail.com. Sis, again, it's all with love. Keep us updated, and congratulations on everything. We hope the wedding is beautiful.
I'm sure it will be.
And we hope everything works out and turns out the way that it needs to.
Let's move
straight on to the parade of petty.
And I want to be very responsible of the things I say to my sister, because everybody know I can be real petty. P-E to the T-T-Y, honey.
All right, let's get to the petty. I have been trying to be diligent in the gym. I'm tired of holding my stomach in, and it is too hot for Spanx. My petty peeve is gym related on today. And I don't really know. I don't really have a fancy build up or anything like that. I will just say that. Why are people so creepy? I hate gym creeps. I really wish that we all could just be in the gym and be about our business of personal fitness in whatever ways that we choose to, realize our fitness goals. I wish that, niggas wouldn't stand over you and ask stupid questions. I wish that niggas wouldn't tap you when you in the middle of your workout and you literally focused and in the zone and trying to get, wherever you were trying to go. I wish niggas wouldn't ask you questions. Or I don't know, what is that?
I wish they'd stop offering to show you workouts.
Shut up. I've stopped offering to train me. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And stop taking over more than one machine. I know you got a little circuit you doing, and you got to you bounce it from one ad machine to the next. You cannot do that during peak gym hours. If you going to have a whole circuit, then you need to go to the gym at 4:00 in the morning when ain't nobody in there but you. But if
or 11 p.m.
Right. If everyone is in the gym, like, at 6 a.m. right before work, or if everyone's in the gym at 6 p.m. right after work, you don't get to have all 5 of the leg machines at your leisure. And we all not going to stand here and wait for you to finish your circuit. I'm so sorry, ma'am, sir. No, I'm not.
Yo, they're like toddlers. Like, it's mine. No, I'm playing with all of these at the same time. It's like, no, nigga, one at a time. You can literally only use one machine at a time.
Like, leave me alone.
Like, take some breaths or do some stretching in between while I'm doing my sets. But we're going to rotate here in this public gym that we all pay to be in.
Yes.
See, this is why I stay fat, because I can't do it.
But yeah, that's my petty peeve, man. Stop being gym creeps. Stop lurking and hovering over me. And then stop thinking that you're going to just commandeer all the machines and I'm going to wait for you to finish. I'm not. You're going to be mad. You're going to be mad with me.
I have 2 petty peeves. One of them is now a piggyback off of yours.
Okay.
And then the other one is the original one that I had. Because you say stop being gym creeps. Just stop being creeps. Like, niggas act like they ain't never seen ass before. And that shit is super annoying. Like, okay, it's hot outside. It is 100 degrees. Okay? My cake is melting. I have to keep putting my potato salad in the cooler so that nobody gets food poisoning. And I have to run around back and forth. I need to be able to wear a light, airy romper without you opening your funky ass mouth and saying anything to me about my physique. And niggas act like you've spent your whole life looking at ass, my nigga. You have ass. You have ass and hips. And you have the gall to open your mouth and say something to me. Stop acting like you ain't never seen no ass before. And I got so irritated on Saturday. I had on a romper and I'm running around. And every time I pass a nigga, it's, oh shit, look at that. Look at that. And it's somebody tapping their friend. It's somebody saying something to me. It's 5 Jamaicans saying something to me. I don't want to hear it. I'm tired of it. And I really got tired of it when I literally, to the moment where we were unloading shit and I was at my doorstep, unlocking my door, a nigga rolled his window down and said something to me on the street. And all I could do is just be like, shut the fuck up and get out of here. I don't have anything else for you. So that's a piggyback off of yours, because that's annoying and niggas need to stop. And I know we touched on it last week, but it continues to be annoying. Mm-hmm. But my real petty peeve is for bad parents.
Oh boy.
And I feel like I'm in a place where I can speak on this. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a school age, I have whatever you want to call her at this point, age child who I understand, like, she sees other kids, she gets excited, she wants to go play, she gets involved. But I make sure that I have some sort of communication with the parents, whether it's like a reassuring eye, like, no, it's cool, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we had the party in the park this weekend. And I was super irritated. Like, we had little games set up, little golf set up for the kids, like all kinds of stuff. Hula hoops, jump ropes. So, and there was a splash pad close. So this lady decides she's going to come set up shop, like, right by us. Like, there are other places, but she decides she's going to set up shop right
Petty.
There. With, like, 13 of her niggas.
Petty.
And, like, 7 of them were her nigglets.
Petty.
So all of her children decide they're going to come over after they clearly have been in a splash pad. Because you know us as a people, when we be out in the splash pad or in the pool all day, we come back with a hint of gray. You know what I'm saying? 50 Shades, myself included. You know what I'm saying? Myself included. Like, we come back, you know what I'm saying? Hair be puffy. Like, we just be looking like, you know, we ain't had no mothers for a little bit. So the kids they start coming over. Can I have a flower crown? Can I have some candy?
God,
I
I would have lost all of my pupils. You know, I can't take it, and I am quick to say something to somebody else's child. It's a wonder that the mamas don't fight me down, because I'm always asking the little person where they supposed to be.
I just knew.
Can you have a flower crown?
Can you get out of here, please? I don't know you, and you don't know my kid. Go. Like, and you know, a lot of people are like, they're just kids. Yeah, they're just kids, and it's fine. But your mother, my real irritation, my real petty peeve is with your raggedy ass mother, who I'm sitting up here and I look up at, and she's watching the whole thing go down. And not once does she come over here and say, come back to our area, get back over here. Like, leave those people alone. Not once does she intervene in any form or fashion to the point where I'm not put in an awkward position where I got to get your kids and tell them to get out of here when they're really just being kids. But you should know better. And you see them picking up the little golf clubs, the little plastic golf clubs, and they're hitting each other with them, and they're throwing my kids' balls around. Like, get out of here. You know that shit don't belong to your kids, so tell your kids to come back over to your area. So, you know, don't give me nothing about kids being kids. Like, I get all of that, and I understand children are going to be children, but my irritation be with them parents. You need to make sure you have some sort of communication, whether it be a reassuring head nod. You know what I'm saying? If you give me a nigga, what's up? If you give me like, it's all good, give me a hand motion, or even come over and walk up to me and be like, my kids, I'm so sorry about something. They don't have no home training, and it irritates the life out of me.
I completely agree.
At one point I was like, yo, get out of here. I'm like, and all these people are at this party are getting ready to see me, because your mother's getting ready to come over here and say something crazy to me. I can already feel it by the way she's looking at me. She wasn't looking at me like, I'm so sorry my kids are bothering you. She was looking at me like, I dare you to say something to my kids. I want smoke.
Okay.
And I'm looking at her like, yo, if you don't get your kids out of here,
I gotta match this. I gotta match.
You know what I'm saying? We was literally like two lionesses in the jungle, like staring each other down. Cause I'm like, yo, get your kids out of here before I get your kids out of here. And then I get you out of here. And I don't want to do that in front of my guests, so don't piss me off.
Because I mean, if smoke is what you want, that can be arranged, beloved.
Baby, I got lighter fluid and one of them big ass lighters for the barbecue grill. What do you want to do? I bought these jump ropes and these hula hoops for these kids, but please don't think that I don't fight dirty and I'm going to pick this shit up and get your ass with it. I'm going to whoop your kids in front of you with this jump rope.
Maybe the Lord kept me in DC for a purpose.
I'm going to not whoop your kid. I'm going to whoop you in front of your kids with this. Not whoop your kids. I'm not touching nobody's kids. But
well,
anyway.
Yes, that's concluding.
That was my petty peeve this week.
That's concluding another episode. A wholesome and pure and Christian episode of the Getting Grown podcast with Jade and Keia, where we discuss all things, purity. But thank you guys so much for listening and checking us out. We love you guys so much. Thanks for all the support.
Absolutely, all the time.
Totes my goats. Welcome to the summertime. We out here. Sis, do we have any announcements? Okay, yes. Women Evolve is coming. Yes. I'm going to be in Denver, July the 13th. Please come and sit with me. Don't have me down to the Women Evolve by myself. Shout out to everybody who has sent me a message, a DM, a comment, and saying that you're excited and you're going to come. I'm so excited. I will also, I guess I can share the God is Not Going to Play Me t-shirts are going to be available for purchase at the Women Evolve conference. And they will also be available online. So we're out here making moves. Check us out. Jade and I are also going to be at Reed Temple AME Church on July 21st, doing a session on adulting 101. We're going to do the ABCs of adulting. We're going to go through the alphabet and talk about all of the ways that adulting is hard, but we got to do it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have a good time. So come see us. The registration link will be in the description box of this. For this episode will also be, in my Instagram bio and on Twitter and all that stuff. We'll make sure that you have it. If you're in the DMV area, please come and check us out. We're hoping to have a wonderful time there at Reed Temple. Shout out to everyone who weighed in on my poll this weekend. The people don't.
Yeah, some of those shady ass posts.
But you voted, so I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel bad. There are people, I would say that a good 10% of those who commented believe that you are going to abstain from using profanity in the house of the Lord. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see which way it goes. Having been with you in the house of the Lord and experienced you cursing there. Wow. I understand that.
All of the times it was
all of the times. I totally believe that. I'm not at all doubting that. I'm just saying that I've experienced it. So my inclination is to believe that it's going to happen again. In which case we will continue to love you and you know, just
never invite me back.
No, you'll definitely be invited back. It's all in good fun. You know, Jesus hung out with all kinds of people who cursed. The disciples cursed. Peter cursed all the time. You know what I'm saying?
He did.
Nobody smacked. But yeah,
I'm going to try my hardest, guys. And it's not a church conference, but it's a leadership conference. It's held at the church. It's sponsored by the church.
We're going to be talking about it.
So don't think about the come. I'm not about to be.
No. There won't be any of that for any of us. Nah. Actually, we're going to be talking about all kinds of things. It's just about professional development, personal development. And the theme of the conference is navigating transition in your life. And we're going to be talking about the transitions that happen in and throughout adulthood or adulting, as we like to call it. So please come and see us at Reed Temple if you're in the DMV area. It's going to be much like our live show, but without the trash. Right. We're gonna be just as petty though. Our petty is welcome in the house of the Lord.
It's deserved. It's deserved. And then also Keia and I will have, you know, we're getting some things together so that we can come see you guys in person. So we'll have those announcements coming soon. And then the book club.
Yes.
So we've chosen a book.
We have.
For July.
We have. It's Roxane Gate, right? All right, Let me make sure I get the title right. I don't want to mess it up. We're going to be reading for the book We're going to be reading for the month of July. I think, hold on. I'm pulling up to make sure. I think it's, writing. We are going to be reading Difficult Women. It is a collection of stories of rare force and beauty, of hard scrabble lives, passionate loves, and quirky and vexed human connection. It's a book of short stories, I believe, but it's going to be by our good homie Roxane Gay. It's reviewed very well by popular outlets, and we're going to talk about it on Getting Grown. So, Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. Get your copies. We got all of your recommendations and we took them under consideration. We're trying to build up, I guess, you know, we were trying to be strategic, I guess, in how we select the books and the order that we select them. So your suggestions were not ignored at all. If it wasn't this month's selection, it may be a selection later on in the year. So please kick it with us. Let's read Difficult Women and have a good time.
This is ongoing, so
sure, you're right.
In the meantime, it's really hot outside, so make sure you drink your water.
Like, don't forget to do it. I mean,
please,
multiple liters a day.
Yes.
Continue to mind your business because that's also very, very important, and to moisturize because your black will do what, sis?
It will crack if it's dry.
That's it. All right, y'all.
Later.